Good day, everyone. Welcome to another day, another learning opportunity. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of instructional materials and different approaches in teaching literature. As future teachers, it is important for us to understand how we can make learning more meaningful, engaging, and effective for our students. We will answer three important questions related to teaching and learning. These questions focus on how teachers choose appropriate instructional materials, what approaches can be used in teaching literature, and how we can improve students' listening and speaking abilities through literature. So, without further ado, let's begin the first question.
When selecting instructional materials for students, a teacher needs to think beyond just what looks good and focus on what actually helps learning. Here are the key factors to consider. The first one, we have learners' needs and level. Instructional materials should match the student's age, grade level, language ability, and prior knowledge. If it's too easy, they will get bored. But if it's too difficult, they will get lost. For the second one, we have here learning objectives. Every material should clearly support the lesson goals. Ask yourself as a teacher, does this help students achieve what I want them to learn? The third one we have here, relevance and interest. Choose topics that connect to students' real-life experiences, culture, and interest. This makes the learning more engaging and meaningful. For the fourth one, we have here clarity and accuracy. The content must be correct, up-to-date, and easy to understand. Confusing or outdated materials can lead to misunderstandings.
Variety and engagement. Use different types of materials, videos, text, visuals, and activities to keep students interested and to cater different learning styles. 6. Accessibility and inclusivity. Materials should be accessible to all learners, including those with different abilities, and consider language simplicity, visuals, and inclusiveness of diverse perspectives.
Good day, everyone. My name is Rosa Navadente, and together with Jaya Navarro, today we will discuss the approaches we would use in teaching literature. As future English teachers, we believe that effective approaches helps the student to understand and appreciate literary text better.
This approach is a language-based approach. This helps our student to develop their vocabulary, grammar, listening, and speaking skills through literary text, such as poems, short stories, and dramas.
The second is the personal response approach. This allows the students to express their own feelings, opinions, and experience about the text, making literature more meaningful and relatable.
To develop their listening skills, we can use storytelling, audio recordings, and of course, group discussions. And for speaking skills, students can participate in oral recitation, role-playing, and class discussion.
In conclusion, these approaches help the students to appreciate literature while also improving their communication skills. They also encourage the learners to become more active and confident in class.
At this point in time, let's answer question number 3. How can you develop your students' listening and speaking abilities in teaching the topic of literature? So, as a future teacher, I can develop my students' listening and speaking abilities by using interactive and student-centered activities during literature discussions. First, I will use storytelling and oral reading activities. Listening to stories, poems, and dialogues can help students improve their listening comprehension, pronunciation, and understanding the emotions and expressions. Second, I will encourage students to participate in class discussions. I will ask open-ended questions so students can freely express their opinions, interpretations, and ideas about the literary text. These help them practice speaking while also developing critical thinking skills. Another effective activity is role-playing or dramatization. By acting out scenes from stories or dramas, students become more expressive and confident in speaking. At the same time, they also develop teamwork and creativity. Aside from that, I will also include group activities such as debates, interviews, and presentations because these activities encourage students to communicate and interact with others. Most importantly, I will create a classroom environment where students feel comfortable expressing themselves. Sometimes, students are afraid of making mistakes. So as a teacher, I should encourage them and make them feel that their ideas and opinions are valued and motivated. In that way, students will become more active participants in class and gradually improve both their listening and speaking abilities. Or, as future educators, we must always remember that teaching is more than simply discussing lessons inside the classroom. Teaching is about creating meaningful learning experiences that can help students grow academically, socially, and personally. Even instructional materials we use, every activity we prepare, and every approach we apply can greatly influence how students learn and participate in class. In teaching literature, it is important that students do not only understand the story, but also learn how to express their thoughts, emotions, and opinions confidently. Through interactive activities such as storytelling, discussions, role-playing, and collaborative learning, students are given opportunities to improve their listening and speaking abilities while also appreciating the value of literature. Moreover, effective teaching requires patience, creativity, understanding, and consideration of students' different needs and abilities. As teachers, we should create a learning environment where students feel comfortable expressing themselves without fear of making mistakes. When learners feel heard, respected, and encouraged, they become more active, motivated, and confident in participating during discussions and activities. This discussion reminds us that becoming a teacher is not only about having knowledge, but also about knowing how to connect with learners and guide them toward meaningful learning experiences. By using appropriate instructional materials and learner-centered approaches, we can help students develop not only their academic skills, but also their confidence, communication skills, and love for learning. As future teachers, may we continue to become passionate, responsible, and compassionate educators who inspire students to learn, think, and critically, and believe in their own abilities. Thank you everyone for listening, and we hope you learned something from our discussion today. Bye-bye!